Hello class, once again you're welcome to this course. You're welcome to Waidsum University, and you're also welcome to this course, Information Privacy Engineering and Privacy by Design. Without much ado, let's begin. This is chapter 12. Chapter 12 will be looking at privacy awareness, training and education. Okay, so here we'll be looking at the need for the employees of an organization to be aware, to have the basic rudimentary awareness about regarding privacy, the necessary training and education needed to carry out the organizational goals and objectives. Now, there are two publications that have been let out with regards to privacy training and awareness and education. One of these publications is the ISO 800-16 and ISO 800-15. These two publications aims at creating four basic concepts. These four concepts that has to do with learning continuum are itemized as follow. Number one is awareness. Okay, this publication, ISO publications, they targeted at creating awareness for employees. All employees in an organization should be given privacy awareness, should be made to understand the do's and don'ts with regards to privacy, whether they are IT staffs or IT employees or they are non-IT employees in an organization, should be given the adequate privacy awareness and privacy essentials. The second one is called the cybersecurity essentials. So every employee in an organization, all the users involved with the IT system, with the IT systems, all the security basics and literacy, secure IT of use, everyone that has something to do with the IT infrastructure in an organization should be given the necessary cybersecurity essentials education. Okay, so number three, regarding these publications, these two publications, ISO 800-16 and ISO 800-15, regarding these two, the number three key element of learning continuum is the role-based training. Now, in role-based training, we say in role-based training, functional roles are related to IT systems. Those who carry out some specific role, functional roles regarding the security, regarding the cyber security and information security are the IT support systems, right? Then we also have to train them on how to manage the system, how to acquire, to design, how to develop, how to implement, and how to operate, and how to review, and how to evaluate the systems. So these are role-based training. So the IT support staff, people who are responsible for the system infrastructure, the IT infrastructure or IT resources, are supposed to be aware of how to manage, how to acquire, how to design, how to develop, how to implement, how to operate, and how to review and how to evaluate the system. Okay, under the role-based training. Then the fourth key element of this learning curriculum, cybersecurity learning continuum, the fourth element is called the education and certification. The education and certification, the IT security specialists should be given necessary education and necessary certification. As we go on this course, we mention some of the certification bodies or bodies that are responsible for learning further details and applications of IT infrastructures and security system and protocols. We'll be mentioning them as we go on this course. So education and certification is very necessary for IT system specialists, so in order for them to be able to manage risk, to have risk management knowledge and security management. So these specific knowledge are very vital to the system and development, so that they can have what we call a good risk management and good security management education. Okay, this is just the canonical block diagram of figure 12.1 cybersecurity learning continuum. So now let's take a look at the information privacy awareness. Information privacy awareness has two key parts, two parts. The first one is called the privacy awareness, and the second one is called the privacy culture. Now, the privacy awareness is simply the extent to which the staff in your organization, your employees, understand the importance of information privacy. How much they understand the privacy of information in an organization is called the privacy awareness. So the organization should always create this atmosphere of understanding of privacy of information in their enterprise, so that those who represent them, which are their employee, are able to adhere strictly to the extent of privacy, information privacy. Now, the level of privacy required for personal information stored and processed by the organization and their individual privacy responsibility, all of this entails the privacy awareness. So the level of privacy required for the personal information stored and processed by the organization. So the employees of the organization should understand the concept, this level of privacy required for personal information that has been stored and processed by the organization, and their individual privacy responsibilities. So the employees should adhere to these rules, and they should be made to understand. A necessary training, education, certification should be given to employee, and even from the outset, from the interview stage, the employee should be made known. Okay, so in order not to jeopardize the organization's asset. Okay, then the second facet is the privacy culture. The privacy culture is the extent to which the staff or the employee of an organization demonstrate expected privacy behavior. The extent they go in demonstrating privacy behavior in line with their individual's privacy responsibility, and the level of privacy required for personal information stored and processed by the organization. So the culture is the extent to which the staff of an organization, the employees of the organization demonstrate expected privacy behavior. So this becomes the culture, how well they expedite privacy behavior, okay, in an organization becomes the culture of the organization, privacy culture of the organization. And let's move on. Then, still on information privacy awareness training. Now we're talking about the training. The training comprises of some key component part. The privacy awareness training comprises of key component part. Now, the first is the program should that continuously pushes the privacy message to user in a variety of formats. So when you are creating a privacy training, this training or this program should be such that we continuously push the privacy message to the users in a variety of formats. So it shouldn't be a program that at the end of the day people don't really get the message, the privacy message. So you design programs that eventually relate what the privacy culture is, what the privacy awareness is, to the employee or staff of the organization. Now, the training program must also reach the employees, not just those with access to IT resources. Meaning, privacy awareness training should be given to not just the IT specialists in an organization. Privacy awareness training should be given to everyone that works in your organization in order to avoid the double jeopardy of asset loss. Okay, so everyone who works in your organization, whether those who bring their own device, the BYOD, or those who use the enterprise devices in the network, because in the previous in one of the chapters we explained that even in some big organizations, every device that you use in the organization is provided by the organization, because the organization is able to monitor what you use it for and how you use it. Or like when they ask you to you can bring your laptop, you can bring your mobile phones. Those ones they don't trust. Those ones create opportunity for the adversaries to hack into their network or their organization. So in many cases they provide this for all. So the privacy training should be given to everyone in an organization, not just the IT specialists or IT those who work in the IT department. No, not just those. Everyone in the right. Then another area in the privacy awareness training is that it should cover topics as physical security. Should look at some specific topics such as physical security protocols for admitting visitors. So you should train your employees or staff on some physical securities, on protocols for admitting visitors who comes to your organizations, Then protocols for social media rules, how and when some organization, when you are in them, some things are bound. Like you cannot access Facebook, you cannot access all the other social media, your personal social media. They're bound. You cannot have access to. They are blocked. You cannot have access to them. But why in some organization it's free, you can access anything. Some they block all of these things so that you don't have access to them. So there should be a complete training for them on how they use social media in your organization, and the rules, and social engineering also, and social engineering. Okay, so in order to avoid drafting of valuable information asset of the organization, okay, that will bring threat, okay, at all level, and create and make the adversary to sense the vulnerability opportunities in your organization. So all these things should be made known to your employee, because the problem actually starts from the employee that works within an organization. Because so many of them, they don't know anything about privacy awareness, they don't know about the training, they don't know about privacy, information privacy, and they just work in adequate training will never give it to them. And so sometimes they do things that not intentionally that they want to harm your organization, but because of the actions of what they're doing, they are actually harming the organization. Now, the overall objective of the organization should be to develop a program. When you're creating privacy awareness training, the overall objective should be to develop a program that permits to all level of the organization. So programs that sinks into all level of the organization, and that is successful in promoting an effective privacy culture. A program that will be super successful in promoting privacy culture, this type of program should be the program that we should develop when we're carrying out privacy training. Then the last but not the least is the program must be ongoing, focused on the behavior of various categories of people, monitored and evaluated. So the program should capture the characteristics of people that are being monitored and people that are being evaluated. Okay, so this program should be very specific and should promote privacy awareness at the end of the day. So if you go into a privacy awareness training, and at the end of the day you didn't learn anything about the privacy culture, then such program did not promote privacy awareness. Then still on the privacy awareness training, privacy awareness looks at employees should understand the following concept. Looks at the following concept. One is the malicious behavior, and the second one is the negligent behavior, and the third one is accidental behavior. Now, the malicious behavior involves a combination of motives to cause harm and a cautious decision to act inappropriately. So there are three types of behavior from either employee or anyone trying to cause harm to enterprise assets, in an information asset in an organization. One is the malicious behavior. Malicious behavior involves two things: the motive to cause harm and a cautious decision to act inappropriately. These are the two concepts of a malicious behavior. It has both a motive to cause harm to the organization. So either whether it's an employee, if he has a motive to cause harm to the organization, then this is a malicious behavior. The employee is exhibiting a malicious behavior. Or if it's an adversary from outside, if he has a motive to cause harm and at the same time he has a cautious decision to act inappropriately, these two characteristics comprises what we call the malicious behavior. Then the second one is the negligent behavior. Negligent behavior do not involve a motive to cause harm to the organization, but does involve a cautious decision to act inappropriately. So when someone is acting inappropriately, an employee of yours is acting inappropriately, even if he doesn't have a motive to cause harm to the organization, then this can actually cause harm to the organization because of his recklessness or her recklessness in the organization. So if someone has a cautious decision to act inappropriately, then it creates a vulnerability opportunity for the adversary from outside that can have access to the organization and jeopardize the information asset of the organization. So in either way, negligent behavior cannot be tolerated in an organization. So because whether the employee knows it or not, he's causing the company or the organization or the enterprise a whole lot of information. Okay. The third concept, which privacy awareness should also make available or give to the employees to understand, is the accidental behavior. The accidental behavior do not have a motive to cause harm or a cautious decision to act. So this happened by accident. This employee of yours does not have the motive to cause harm to the organization. Neither does he have a cautious decision to act inappropriately. So, but this happens by accident, by chance. So the point we're making is that privacy awareness training should capture all this subject matter and make it the employee knows malicious behavior, negligent behavior, and accidental behavior as the three concepts of information privacy negligence. Now let's take a look at awareness topic. This publication also, ISO 29151, 29151, the code of practice for personally identifiable information protection. This publication is a publication. All these are publications, okay? Security publication, IT publication. Now, this publication indicates 3 broad topics to be covered by awareness program. So, every privacy awareness program that you are going to carry out must cover these 3 broad areas in terms of the consequences of a privacy breach. So, this is looking at the consequences, what will happen to the organization, what will happen to the individual, and what will happen to the employee, which is the individual, and what will happen to the personally identifiable information principal, the person upon which you collected the data and the information from in the first instance. So when you are creating a privacy awareness training in an organization, you should be able to capture this consequence concept. Okay, consequence concept, the breach of privacy, the consequence of the breach of privacy, and this should be made known to the employees so that they do not joke with privacy issue in an organization. One, the first of it is that what will happen to the organization? There may be a legal consequence. So when they breach privacy, other people may sue the organization. When the employee are negligent about the privacy issues and they jeopardize the principal's personally identifiable information principal's privacy, those people can sue the organization. So the organization might lose a lot of money, lose time, and lose valuable things, and or even the company may face foreclosure for recklessness, and depending on the judgment in the law court. Okay. Then another thing to the business is loss of business, like I said before, facing foreclosure. So the business may be closed down for inappropriate activities, okay, just from the actions of some of the employees because they lack the proper education and training of privacy, especially when your business is dealing with personally identifiable information or sensitive personally identifiable information as your asset. So, and not only the legal consequences or loss of business, and there could be a loss of brand. Your brand may just die. People can, like what happened to Kanye West a few days ago because of whether racist comment or something, and then a lot of companies, a lot of partnership. He lost a lot of partnership from being a billionaire. He went down big time. So you can lose your brand because you make some comment or you breach some privacies, and these people can start campaigning against you, boycott. People can use boycott this company and campaign against you online, and you lose your reputation. Another thing is that you may lose your reputation that you built over the years, and can damage your reputation just because privacy of other people's information that are with you has been breached by your employee, either with a accidental behavior or negligent behavior or malicious behavior. In either case, this can cost the company a lot of loss. Is that okay? Then the second case is that personally identifiable principal. Another person that will face huge consequence of breach of privacy is the person upon which these data were collected in the first place, which is called the personally identifiable information principal. Now, this person may have the following consequences: physical consequences, maybe can even commit suicide or some other injuries or abuses and here and there. This person may lose materially, may lose some of his materials because you breach his privacy, may have emotional consequences as well. Number 3 is the emotional consequence that comes from this. So both physical, material, and emotional consequences, and even social consequences, even economic consequences can come to this very principal identifiable information, this personally identifiable information principle, or the data subjects. So we should be careful as an organization. So we should give a very high level of privacy awareness training to our employee in order not to jeopardize personally sensitive, personally identifiable information from the organization or information asset of the organization, because the consequences trickle down. Then another person that may suffer some of the consequences is all the employee, all the staff members. You may face disciplinary consequences as a staff, because if the company is facing this huge amount of this thing, then they will discipline the staff. You might lose your job, you might be suspended, you might not be paid for some months for what you have done. They may use your salary to pay the damages that they've caused to other people because of your negligence, and so on and so forth. So many disciplinary consequences that the employee might face. So in order to avoid and avert all of this, comes this chapter: the training, the awareness, the education, the certification. Privacy, training, awareness, and certification. Now let's move on. The awareness program communication materials. What are the materials that are needed or used for carrying out training, privacy training, awareness? First and foremost, we say the heart of an awareness training program consists of the communication materials, right? Consists of super communication materials. Wait, let's take some colors that might work well for us, right? Let's take this one. When you create privacy awareness, the first thing that comes is communication material. What materials are you going to be used? Are you using to communicate to the people, your employees, your staff, and so on and so forth? And then the method that you're going to use to convey the privacy awareness. So the material you are using and the method you use, they are very vital, two key cognizant issues that this section is addressing. So the materials that you're going to use, and the communication materials you're using, and the method you're going to use to convey your message. Now there are two options for the awareness program design. We have the in-house material and externally obtained material. In-house material is the one that is prepared by the organization to train their employees. These are called the in-house material. The one prepared by the organization, by the people in charge, the IT chief executive officer, chief security officer. They prepare their own material to give necessary training, because they themselves, they've undergone series of training over the years. The organizations have sent them for training, and they are expert now in their own terms, because before you get to chief information security officer of an organization, probably you've gone through series of educations, training, certification, and hand-on experience on the job. So this expert in your organization can prepare in-house material to train your employees in order to avert the danger. The second one, materials, can come from external material, right? You can get externally obtained material from maybe other organizations, from online, from anywhere. These other materials are two basic materials that are used for creative privacy training program. A well-designed program will likely have materials from both sources. So if you have a well-developed training program, then for sure there will be an in-house training material, and there will be material from external sources in order to boost the training and make it very educating and very rewarding for the employees, in order to protect your organization. Because remember, any of this that you do, you protect your organization. Then another publication called the NIST SP-100. It's a publication on information security handbook, a guide for manager. In that publication, it lists the following as necessary elements of awareness program. The element of an awareness program. Number one is tools. So if you want to create awareness, you need tools. What tools are you going to use? Okay? any awareness program that you're training you are going to carry out, you need tools. What tools are you going to use? Number 2 is communication. What language of communication are you going to use? What method, what materials are you going to use? Then number 3 is outreach. Now let's take a look at them one after the other. Okay. Now the first one is the tools. Okay. The tools could be the events such as the Privacy Awareness Day, promotional materials, briefing program or system or specific or issue specific rules of behavior. All these could be your tools that you're going to use. However, tools in looking at privacy awareness, creating awareness tools must be the things that can promote information privacy. So any tool you are using must be things that can promote the information privacy and inform users of threat and vulnerability. So the tools must promote information privacy and must inform those who are using this system of threat and vulnerability that might impact this organization or this enterprise and personal work environment by explaining the what rather than the how the information privacy by communicating what is and what is not allowed. So the tools should focus on the what than the how. The what is allowed, what is not allowed. The tools should focus on this. Okay, the awareness training is not only to communicate information privacy policies and procedure that needs to be followed, but also provides the foundation for any sanctions and disciplinary action imposed for non-compliance. So it's not only for you to communicate the information privacy policy and procedure to the employees when you're training them, you should also make them know the consequences of their action or inactions when they do not comply with privacy guidelines and procedures. Then awareness training is also used to explain the rules of behaviors for using organizations' information systems and information systems and the information and establishes the level of expectation, what is expected and what you are supposed to relate and what is acceptable use of information and information systems. Okay, so now this is the first one. When we are creating awareness training, we say tools. The second one we say is communication. Now, communication, activities that support communication are what? Let's take a look at, before we talk about the meaning and types of communications, let's look at activities that can support communication. One is assessment. Okay, assessment as is or to be a model, one of the models that you should use, assessment. Because when you, after training and after all of this, after communicating, after teaching, after whatever it is, after teaching, after educating people, you should assess them to know whether or not they followed. Okay, so one of the activities that support your communication, after you have given a training program, you should assess the people, the employee that you've sent for this training. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is another thing that supports communication is strategic plan. You have to have a strategic plan. If not, you will not be able to have communicated the intentions or the privacy awareness that you intended to have to be carried training upon. Then the third one is the program implementation. So you must show a clear path of how the program will be implemented, and then in this you would have achieved a high level of communication. You would have communicated because people would have followed you and understood you exactly. So first of all, communication is a large part of an awareness effort is communication with users, managers, executives, system owners, and others. So communication is very vital. You are not only communicating with only the employees of the organization, you are also communicating with your boss, your managers. You are also communicating with the people using your system. Imagine you are a platform, you provide maybe some whatever system to other people who are using your system. You are communicating with the outside world using your system. You are communicating with your colleagues. You are communicating with your managers. You are communicating with your executives. You are communicating with system owners, those who own the system where you're working. you are communicating with them, and you're also communicating with all those like stakeholders and so on and so forth, investors and so on and so forth, if need be. So communication is very vital. So since at the end of the day you'll be communicating with a whole lot of people, when you work in an organization you'll be communicating with a whole lot of people, then the need to have proper communication skill is very vital. And this will help in awareness program, in a privacy awareness program that you've developed. Now, a communication plan is needed. Remember, we mentioned this. We say assessment, strategic plan, and program implementation. These are key activities that support communication. We say a communication plan is needed to identify stakeholders. So you need a plan, a communication plan, in order to. Okay, here I think we take another color. This color is not conspicuous here. Okay, a communication plan is needed to identify stakeholders. You need a good plan in order to identify your stakeholders. Okay. A communication plan also helps you to know the type of information that you are supposed to be disseminating. Okay, because you have had a proper plan. And then the channel for disseminating the information. What channel are you going to use to disseminate the information? Okay, what type of channel will you be using to disseminate the information? Is it by email? Is it by notice board? Is it by whatever channel that you're going to use to disseminate the information? Is very important, right? We say type of information that you'll be disseminating is very important, right? The channel that you're going to use is very important, right? And then the frequency of information exchanges. How often do you hold meetings? How often do you communicate to your employees? Okay, so that they understand, they get the message. Not like you abandon them, you just expect them to do wonders. Now, the plan also needs to identify whether the communication are either one way or two ways. But two-way communication is always better. Okay, so if it's a one way, you don't get feedback from. You will not be able to get feedback from your staff, right? You'll not be able to get feedback from your staff, right? Okay. Now let's move on. We say, just a moment. We've touched what we're not supposed to touch. Okay, the third one, we say the first one is the tools that you use. The second one is communication for creative privacy. If you want to create the elements of awareness program, okay? The three elements of awareness programs are tools, communication, and outreach, right? There we talked about tools, we talked about communication. The third one is the outreach. Now, outreach is critical for leveraging best practices within an organization, okay? It's very critical for okay, I was trying to get a pen. Anyway, we already have a pen. Outreach is very important. It's very important when you leverage on the best practices, where you are backing on the best practices within an organization, where you are championing best practices, privacy best practices, and all of this. So outreach is an impact. So it's very vital when you are clamoring and championing for best practices within your organization. Now, a web portal that provides a one-stop shop for privacy information can be an effective outreach tool. Okay, if a web portal that provides a one-stop shop for privacy information can be the effective outreach tool that you use. Okay, policies that frequently are like your policies are going to give you a great outreach. Your frequently asked questions like facts, okay, they're going to help you. Their privacy e-newsletters. All these are things that are that gives a great outreach. Privacy e-newsletter. So when you create very super policies and your employees are aware of your policies, they are super aware of your policies, then it will give you a great outreach, right? You would have be able to reach them. Frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions is one of the tools to is one of the things to look at. The privacy e-newsletters is also one of the things that helps to create great outreach. All of these links to resources and other useful information within the organization. Is that okay? Then another thing is that this tool promotes a consistent and standard message for people. Okay, and since it promotes consistent and standard message for people, then you have reached your targeted audience. Okay, now table 12.1, metrics for measuring the success of awareness program. Now, if you want to measure whether your awareness program that you carried out in your organization is successful, here are some of the characteristics of things that you have to, number of things that you have to look at. You look at the number of security incidents due to human behavior. How often are these still happening now? The security incidents, have they improved? Are they still like happening a lot? Okay. Have you moved up the ladder or moved down the ladder? Then you also look at audit findings and see whether there's any review or any improvement in the area after the privacy campaign, awareness campaign. Result of staff survey. So you carry out some results from staff survey and see what you get from it. Test of whether staff follow correct procedures. You carry out all of this. Very good way of actually measuring behavior is and highlighting changes after training. So you should carry out tests like we said before. Then number of staff completed training. This is very important. Some people start the training but they don't finish it. So how many people are able to finish the training? And then all these are metrics for knowing whether your training program was successful or not. Now let's take a look at privacy training and education. Privacy training and education looks at privacy training is targeted at IT and other personnel, not only IT personnel in an organization, other personnel that are in the organization who have access and or are responsible for collecting data. Anyone, because it's not only IT personnel that collects data in an organization. You have the front desk people who collect data from your customers or from your clients. So they need privacy training as well. So privacy training, they're needed for both the IT and non-IT personnel, and especially people who are responsible for collecting data, storing data, processing data, and disposing data or disposing of personally identifiable information, whether they're sensitive or non-sensitive. Now, then again, one of the goal of privacy of training and education of training is to provide the individuals or your employees or staff with the knowledge and skills that enable them to protect the personally identifiable information of the organization, of the individuals with the organizations. So one of the goals is to provide the individuals, your employees, with the knowledge and skills that enable them to protect the personally identifiable information of the people that are with you. Okay. Then another area of privacy training and education is organizations' privacy training policies should cover the following area. 1. The privacy training policies should cover the roles and responsibilities for the training. The training prerequisite for receiving access to personally identifiable information should be included in training. The frequency of training and refresher training requirements. So all of this, how well you carry out a training again, not you give staff training 5 years time doesn't get any of the training. Training and retraining is very important if you want your organization to be at the forefront of success. The cyber security essentials. Now let's take a look at the cyber security essentials, which the IT and IT support staff need serious training upon. The cyber security essential program serves 2 purposes. The first purpose is its principal function is is to target users of IT systems and applications, including the company's supplied mobile devices and the BOD, bring your own device. Okay, that's the meaning of BOD, bring your own device. So is this cybersecurity essential focuses on the functions. Cybersecurity essentials focuses on the principal function is target on the users of IT systems. So those who use IT in your organization, those who are IT personnel in your organization, and this training should be on applications. It should include the company supplied mobile devices, application of the company supplied mobile devices, and also even the application, or because IT support staff should understand the bring your own devices, the devices that will be brought by other employees of the company. So the applications of this type of the mobile phones that they bring to your, or laptop or desktop or whatever they bring to your organization, the network system or the IT support staff should understand the kind of programs and applications that are on those devices, and also to develop sound security practices for these employees. So that's number one, the cybersecurity essential. The second one is secondarily, it provides the foundation for subsequent specialized or role-based training by providing a universal baseline of key security terms and concepts that the employee needed in order to forge ahead or move the organization forward. Cybersecurity essential, if you look in one of the publications, which is the SP 800-60, defines cybersecurity essential program as a program that involves an individual's familiarity with an ability to apply. So you are familiar with something and you have the ability to apply a core knowledge set that is needed to protect electronic information and systems. So when we say a cybersecurity essential, is defined as a program that improves the individual's familiarity and ability to apply a core knowledge set that is needed to protect, in order to protect the electronic information and the system. So you are very familiar with, and you have the ability, and you have the knowledge. So first of all, you are familiar with it. So you've got it in necessary training. That's why you're familiar with this program. So when we say cybersecurity essential, is a process or a program that enables you to have a very good familiarity and ability to apply a core knowledge set in order to protect electronic information and systems. So that's what we call cybersecurity essential. Now, all individuals who use computer technology or its output product, regardless of their specific job responsibility in an organization or in an enterprise, they must know this essential and be able to apply them when necessary. They must know this cybersecurity essential. They must be familiar with this cybersecurity essential. They must be able to have the audacity to apply this set of knowledge in order to protect the electronic information and system of the organization. Okay, then the training at this level should be tailored to a specific organization's IT environment. So when you are now learning about cybersecurity, essential, this specific training is not just for everyone in the organization. Okay, or like when we were talking about privacy awareness, that one is for everyone in the organization. When we are talking about the cybersecurity essential training, this training is tailored to specific organization's IT environment. Everyone in the IT infrastructural environment needs this training. No matter what you do in the IT department, you need this training. The security policies, those who are working with security policies, they need this training. And those who are working with the risk assessment and risk management in the IT infrastructure, they need this training. So this cybersecurity essential training are designated to those who are in the IT department and inside or within the IT infrastructure. So they need this training. Is that okay? Now, role-based training. Now let's take a look at role-based training. Role-based training focus on you learning about the job, okay, your role on the job. Okay, the training that is intended for all users, privileged or non-privileged users, whether you're privileged or you're not privileged users, who have some role with respect to IT systems and application. So if you don't, whether you're privileged or not, if you're not having anything to do with the IT system and applications, then probably this is not for you. Okay, in the context, the term role refers to the responsibilities and functions that a person is performing within the organization. Role simply refers to the responsibilities and functions that a person is performing within an organization. Role-based privacy training allows employees in different roles, such as human resources and IT, to receive education tailored to their specialty. So when we say role-based training, it's just for you to get the education and the training that is tailored to your specialty. Okay, that's a role-based training. If you are from human resource, you get human resource training. That's a role-based training. If you are from IT, you get the IT training. That's a role-based training. Okay, this is not a general training like privacy awareness, which is general. Role-based training are specific training program designed and developed to train the employees or staff that carry out those specific tasks in your organization. Okay. The big difference between training and awareness is that training seeks to teach. Training seeks to teach skills that allows a person to perform his job in your organization, while awareness seeks to focus on individuals' attention on an issue or set of issues. Awareness just focuses the person's attention on an issue or set of issues. Training seeks to teach skills that allows the person to perform his task or his job in your organization. Is that okay? Then, according to this publication, SP 800-60, they vitamized and developed training recommendation based on the differentiation of 4 major roles. So that role-based training should, for IT support staff, should focus on manage, design, implement, and evaluate. We're going to talk about each one of them. Manage, design, implement, and evaluate. Manage, the individual or the person in the IT department, his job function encompasses overseeing a program. So they are overseeing a program, a software, a function, a whole web, or technical aspect of the security programs, and they're overseeing the life cycles of a computer system, the entire computer system. It could be the entire computer system or even the entire network. So not only the computers in your organization and the peripherals that goes with the computers, they're also seeing the entire network in the organization and the applications, the different application software that have been installed on these computers that are running to keep the organization going forward, and also have the responsibility for training of staff. So you can see they also have to train other staff, maybe new staff or older staff on the IT infrastructures. Even those who are not from the IT, at least sometimes you have to give them how to use the web, how to use the software, the application. So they're always giving, because if an organization like a bank, they are using software, right, to carry out all the banking transactions. So they regularly the staffs are trained. The oil and gas, they use different software to process the oil, the drilling, the location, the prospecting of oil, the location, so they use various software, okay, to drill, to process, to monitor, to evaluate. So all of this, the IT staff needs to know. So when you are doing all of this, you are actually managing the whole IT infrastructure. You are actually managing the whole IT. So you need to learn how to manage. So role-based training should teach you about management of the entire IT infrastructure. That's what we mean by that. Then number 2, role-based training in regards with IT infrastructure should teach you how to design. In designing, the individual's job function encompasses scoping a program and developing a program. How to develop a program. First of all, how to scope a program, how to develop a program, how to process it, and the architecture, how to put it together to make it a system, and then eventually how to design, or the design of a computer system, or the design of a network. Excuse me. Or the design of a network, or the design, or the application itself. So all of these are also categorized as role-based training. So in role-based training for IT infrastructure, IT department, excuse me, for IT department, we're looking at the design. The design is part of what you should learn. Then number 3 is implement. Okay, among the in role-based training, the staff or the employees that are working in the IT department or the related peripheries of ITs should also be able to function, carry out functions that encompass putting the programs, the processes, the policies into place. So implementation is actually to make things work, to put it into place, into perspective, and start making everything run, to enforce, to make it work, to implement it, to have it going, to kick it off, and not just the plan or the design. After that, to run it, to keep it running. So that's the implementation. All the programs, all the processes, all the policies must be put in place, must be enforced. Okay, to enforce it and keep it in operation, to keep it in operation and maintenance of the computer system and network and application. So this is implementation under the role-based training, which should be given to people in this regard. Now, the last but not the least, the fourth one is the evaluate concept that you need to learn when you're carrying out a role-based training. Now, the evaluate holistically take a look at the individual's functions, which encompass assessing the effectiveness of any of the above actions. All of this, we must look at them step by step. So when you get to the evaluation stage, maybe you are in the manager or management position, you now look at each of these, whether they be put into perspective. Okay. Now, the role-based training, according to the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, they list the following training objectives based on the roles. All users, the executive, programs and functional managers, chief information officers, and the IT function management and operations personnel. So these are according to the U.S. Office of Personnel Management, they list the following as following training objective on based on roles. Now, for roles, when we look at all users of the organizational information system must be exposed to security awareness. So if you are in the organization at all, you must have basic security awareness, right? Awareness and awareness material at least annually. So you should be getting yearly training on security and security materials, right? Users include all the employees. When we say all users, they include employees, they include the contractors that you're dealing with your companies. They include students. You know, sometimes students are set from university to do internship with you. So include students, include the guest researchers. So people come to your organization to come and do research. Okay, they are attached from university, postgraduate students. They are attached from university to do research with their organization. So they need all these basic organizational information security training. Then the visitors, those who come to who always visit your organization and also have access to your computers, so they need this. And others who may need access to the organization's information system and application. So all these other people, they need this training. The second one is the executive. Executive must receive training in information security basics and policy level training in security planning and management. Because if the executives don't know the basic security planning, basic security management, risk assessment, all of this, information security basics, they will have to know. They don't know all of this, then they will not understand what is going on. They will not understand, and then the company is in big risk. Then another thing, the third one, those who list the training or objective, the people it focuses on. The third one is the program, function, and managers. The managers must receive training in information security basics, right? Just like the executives. Management and implementation level training, they should know. They should know management training. They should know implementation training in security planning and systems. Application of security management, they should know. Management implementation level, they should know. So the basic risk management, risk assessment, all of the things that we've talked about, people in this level should know. Then the chief information officer, the CIOs, or Chief Information Security Officer, or IT Security Program Managers or auditors and other security-oriented personnel, they must receive training in information security basics and broad training in security planning, system and application security management, system and application life cycle management, risk management, and contingency planning. So they should know all of this training. Then the IT function management and operation personnel must receive training in information security basics also. You see, information security basics for everyone, because all the ones we have enumerated, we always start with the information security basics. Everyone should have this information security basic training. Then management and implementation training follows. Then training in security planning, system and application security management, all of this they should know. Now, still on role-based training, according to this publication, SP 800-181, which is a publication on national, the title of the publication is National Initiative for Cybersecurity Education, NICE. Okay, this cybersecurity workforce framework, structured training and education objective for those with security responsibility to 4 areas. So this publication, this published paper, put the objectives, the training and education objective with cybersecurity responsibility into 4 different categories or 4 different areas. Number 1 is knowledge. Number 2 is skills. Number 3 is ability. Number 4 is task. Now, the knowledge that the personnel must apply a body of knowledge directly to the performance of a function, right? If you don't have knowledge, you cannot carry out that specific task. This document lists about 630 separate knowledge areas related to cybersecurity. So we can check out this paper, this publication, and find out about 630 separate knowledge areas related to cybersecurity. Then on skills, the observable competence to apply tools, you must have it. If your training should cover this area, and the individuals that will be working on this area should have these basic skills to be able to have that competence to apply tools, frameworks, processes, and control that have an impact on the cybersecurity posture of the organization or of the individual. Now, this document lists about 374 separate skills related area to cybersecurity. Then number 3 is ability, competence to perform. Ability is the competence that you have to perform an observable behavior or the behavior that results in an observable product. The document lists about 176 separate ability area related to cybersecurity. So you can watch out these publications. Okay, the task, a specific defined piece of work that is combined with other tasks, composes of work in the specific work role. The document lists about 1007 separate task areas related to the cybersecurity. So we can check out these publications. Education and certification, still on education and certification. An education and certification program is targeted at those who have the specific information privacy responsibility. So if it's not your responsibility, you may not be given this specific education. Now, we're going to see some of the international bodies where you can get the certification, the necessary certification that can give you these jobs in the big organization. You need to, after having a degree, a bachelor degree in the university or college, then you need to do some certification program that are related to cybersecurity training and education. Okay? Often, this type of education is provided by outside sources, such as college and university. You can get the basic education from colleges and university courses that you have done, like this course, or specialized training program. But if you want in-depth knowledge and skills, industry skills, then you should take after graduation or before graduation, you should take one of these certification programs, okay, to add to your degree in IT, information technology, or degree in computer networks, okay. The following are examples of such program. 1, International Association of Privacy Professionals. So you can have this one, and you can have this certification, and here you will learn about the principal organization offering the related certification, right, with 3 offerings. They have certified information privacy professional. They have three level. So the first one is certified information privacy professional. Then after this first exam, you do another one called the certified information privacy manager, that can make you an information manager. And then the next one is a certified information privacy technologies, the different technologies that are used with this. So this body, you can have all this certification, just like Cisco. Cisco offers certification in computer networks, just like the way Cisco offers certification in computer networks. Okay. Then another body that offers certification is the International Information System Security Certification Consortium. Okay. And also this one, they give certified healthcare information security and privacy practitioner. Okay. So you can have, depending on the area where you work or where you intend to seek for job, then you look at which area fits your education or which area of interest you are mostly interested in. All of these are also certification program. The Computer Security Training and Certification, SANS. SANS provide intensive immersive training designed to help participants master the practical steps necessary for defending systems and networks against the most dangerous threats, okay, the ones being actively exploited. So when you do SANS program, you have a hands-on training on threat and adversary and vulnerability. So you learn from here, and you're able to know how to monitor and protect a system. Okay. Then we have what we call the Global Information Assurance Certification also, which is a security essential. This program is designed for IT pros who want to demonstrate skills in IT system hands-on rules with respect to security tasks. Okay. So all of these are different training programs that you can have certificate on to boost your degree, your university degree. Now let's go to acceptable use policies. Acceptable use policies is a type of security or privacy policy targeted at all employees who have access to one or more organizational assets. So this is not only for the IT guys in an organization. It defines what behaviors are acceptable and what behaviors are not acceptable in the organization. So meaning these acceptable use policies are for everyone in the organization and should be clear and concise. This program acceptable use policies, the policies of the organization, should be clear, should be brief, and it should be condition of employment. It should be the condition of employment that each employee have to sign before they give you the job. Now let's go to information security acceptable use policies. Now this the message lab white paper acceptable use policies looks at why, what, and how, and they suggest the following process for developing acceptable use policies. So you should conduct a risk assessment to identify areas of concern. If you want to develop your company's acceptable use policy as an IT graduate, you should create a policy. You should distribute the acceptable use policy. You should monitor the compliance. You should enforce the policies. These are the things you need to do. You should, first of all, conduct a risk assessment to identify the areas of concern for the organization. You should create a policy. After you carry out a risk assessment, you should create the policy, distribute this acceptable use policy to all the employees. You monitor their compliance and see whether they are compliant to it. Then you enforce policy. Okay? An example of template for acceptable use policy is provided by SANS Institute. That you go to www.sans.org. Okay, you find all of these policies, acceptable use policies, as it were. Now let's take a look at the personally identifiable information acceptable use policy. With respect to information privacy, an acceptable use policy should cover the employee's responsibility with respect to personally identifiable information. The acceptable use policy should apply to any user of an information system that processes, stores, or so not only IT guys. and try or transmit the personal and valuable information and should cover the following area. One, for PII acceptable use policy, there must be what? EPAT level, the PII EPAT level. You must measure it. Then mobile computing device must be measured, remote access, reporting, privacy breach, and PII training. All of this should be covered in this regard, okay? Should be covered in this regard. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, summary. So at the end of this chapter, we have covered 4 phases in the cybersecurity learning continuum. 4 phases: the awareness, the cybersecurity essential, the training, education, this education and certification. So we covered those 4 areas. Then we have also looked at the goals and the desired content of privacy awareness program. We've understood the elements of role-based training, and also we've discussed the roles and typical content of acceptable use policy. So thank you. Without much ado, let's end our today's class. Thank you very much.